My name is Clara. I'm 29. After 11 surgeries and 14 months in a hospital, I texted landing at 10:20, gate 8. My family never replied. No one showed up. I stood there alone. Then Mom texted, "Still waiting on the $4,800 for your sister's tuition." An hour later, a familiar SUV pulled up. It wasn't my family, but that person changed everything. After that, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. 48 missed calls. Default driver. The one who keeps the family calendar, knows every password, and carries a zip bag of receipts like a traveling clerk. I spent 14 months learning to be a person again. Hospitals, rehab, beeps for music, fluorescent for sunlight. I know the sound of the 2 a.m. vitals check and the exact click of the door when a night nurse tries to be quiet and isn't. 11 surgeries. I can list them faster than my siblings can name state capitals. They called me resilient. What they meant was I didn't die, and I was polite about it. The flight home landed early. Gate 8, Terminal B. My backpack dug into a tender place where skin meets graft. The crutches tapped out a metronome on the tile. I sat near the charging station with a clean view of the doors in the pickup lane. The arrivals board flipped like a restless book. I breathed in coffee, damp clothes, and a sour tang of recycled air. I texted the family chat, landing at 10:20, gate 8. The chat is called Fam Bam, which feels like a sticker over a crack. Blue bubbles. No reply. I told myself they were already in the car. I told myself Mom's ringer was off. Mia was probably asleep. Josh might be at practice. Rick, Mom's husband, was likely busy, which is what he says any time the topic is anything real. People poured through the doors with signs and flowers, and the kind of hugs that make strangers smile. Every time a glass opened, I did that half smile you do when you refuse to look desperate. 20 minutes, 40 an hour. Tease. My battery sank. My knee throbbed a forecast. A kid cried, hiccuped, fell asleep on a suitcase. A TSA agent asked if I needed help. "I'm good," I said. The lie came out clean from practice. Headlights rotated outside. Trunks popped. Door slammed. The pickup lane did its loop of quick reunions. I kept searching for our dented minivan with a zip-tied bumper and a faded soccer sticker. Nothing. Then a Navy SUV rolled to the curb. Fog headlight, dented wheel. Well, like a dimple. Familiar, but not family. The driver stepped out with a messy bun, coffee in one hand, tote bag in the other, and a face that says your name like a fact. "Clara," she called through the glass. Nora, hospital social worker, the person who smuggled granola bars and boundaries into my life. She waved like I might miss her, which was silly because Nora points with her whole arm. She hugged me carefully like a person who knows where the scars are. "You look taller," she said, which is what you say to someone who's been rebuilt. We didn't talk at first. The wipers squeaked. Rain started in dots and turned to lines. The city smeared by in wet brick and red lights. I counted breaths the way PT taught me. In 4, hold 2, out 6. "They know," she asked finally. I texted, I said. It sounded smaller than the effort it took. At the house, the porch light was off even though the sky had gone to lead. The plastic flamingo in the flower bed lay face down, like it had fainted. Voices leaked from the living room. TV laugh track and Mom's low hum. "Wanting to come in?" Nora asked, hand on the gear shift. "No," I said. "I've got it." The front door stuck like always. The entry smelled like fried onions and lemon cleaner. I stood in the doorway, wet and metal, and waited for the line everyone imagines and never gets right. Mom looked up. "Oh," she said like I was early for an appointment. "We were just about to text." Josh paused his game, but kept the headset on. Mia didn't look away from her phone. Rick said, "Hey, champ," to the coffee table. I set my bag down. It left a wet snail trail on the tile. Mom waved a stack of envelopes. "Good," she said briskly. "You can explain these." "I don't speak medical. Not how are you. Not we missed you. Just explain these." The words sat between us like a switch. Paperwork. Something inside me stood up. Before the truck ran the light and met my left side, I was 2 jobs in a trench coat. Warehouse mornings, call center nights. I stretched checks like pizza dough, rent, groceries, Mom's copay, Mia's emergency books, Josh's cleats, Rick's weird week at work. I bought the big pack of toilet paper because no one else remembered until we had none. Family is family, Mom would say, which meant Clara will fix it. If I said I don't have it, she'd tilt her head and say, "Don't be ugly." Somewhere between ugly and ungrateful is where the money always appeared. My money, I didn't keep a ledger. Writing numbers down made me angry, and anger made me feel guilty, and guilt made me tap send faster. That was the system. They called it love. It was debt with confetti. Then the accident folded my life. Metal, glass, siren, white ceiling tiles. Someone saying my name like it belonged to another person. When I woke, a surgeon traced roads on my leg with his finger. Harvest, graft, fixation, 11 surgeries, 2 infections, a wound vac that gurgled. I learned to measure days by shift change and nights by the squeak of shoes. The first time Nora met my family was on speaker, while I lay flat and tried not to throw up from the meds. Mom cried. Rick exhaled professionally. Mia said, "This is insane," like a plot twist. Josh asked about Wi-Fi. When months left the surgeon's mouth, Mom said, "We can't do this. We don't have money." Then quickly added, "Clara, honey, we'll figure it out." Translation, Clara will. Someone had to sign forms. Someone had to call insurance. At first, Mom said, but we turned into Clara. "Can you log in?" And they said something about a portal. What's that? And can you just talk to them? They use lingo. Lingo meaning English. Bill started arriving at Mom's because that address sits on my ID. She texted pictures. These give me a panic attack. Not should I bring them. When insurance denied a claim because box 14 wasn't checked, she sent me a sad face and fixed this. I asked her to call once. She sent a screenshot of her Google Calendar labeled "busy, busy, busy," as if blocks on a screen could erase mine. I paid from hospital bed. I whispered my car number to strangers named Priya, Jorge, and Steve. While the morphine made the numbers swim, I put my apartment rent on credit for an apartment I barely remembered. I learned to memorize whole music. I learned to ask for itemized bills. I learned that no lives in your mouth like a foreign word until you practice. Nora taught me the practice. "Try this," she'd say, and feed me lines like vitamins. I can't do that. That doesn't work for me. No. We said them out loud until my tongue stopped tripping. Boundaries sounded like arrogance at first. Then they sounded like breathing. The day I rolled through the door after 14 months, Mom handed me a stack of mail like a baton. "While you're at it," she added as I peeled an envelope, "Mia's tuition is due. They won't extend again." I swallowed. "Mom, I can't." Her face roughened. "Selfish," she said. Not loud, just heavy. "We all make sacrifices. You're not special." Mia sent a Venmo request titled "Books plus Fees," and when I didn't accept in 10 minutes, sent a question mark. 5 minutes later, Josh texted gas. Just 20 this time. Promise. Rick asked me to check the power bill. It's weird again. The family chat pinged with memes. My lab results and an aunt's prayers up like prayer could cover days. I opened my bank app. Numbers glared. The red was loud. I closed it and breathed in 4. Hold 2, out 6. The phone vibrated again. Another request. My stomach went hot, then cold. Nora wheeled in during PT with iced coffee and a folder. "Let's put the invisible on paper," she said. We printed 3 years of statements. We highlighted anything labeled family, house, tuition, utilities, emergency. The pages glowed like a hazard sign. This isn't random. She said it's a funnel. It's family. I said because that's the word I built my excuses around. Family is a system, she said. Yours runs on whoever bleeds quietly. I didn't argue. The math did it for me. Mom escalated on schedule. She lined the mail up like dominoes and asked again for tuition. She said, "We can't do this without you," like a threat disguised as a compliment. She said, "You know how the world works," as if knowing meant paying. The accident didn't make them greedy. It made me unavailable. It exposed the fact that I've been covering the holes so long they thought the floor was solid. At night, the hospital hummed, and I practiced saying no to the ceiling. I pictured the kitchen table. I pictured their faces. I pictured my own, new and steady. I rehearsed until the word didn't tremble. Not today. Not anymore. No. The day the plane landed and the Navy SUV pulled up instead of the minivan, I understood the script wasn't going to change by itself. Love was not a payment plan. Tradition was not consent. "Explain these," Mom said, waving the envelopes, and something inside me clicked. I would explain with numbers, with dates, with boundaries, and I would stop.